When the end of the year approaches and the cold begins to take over many landscapes around the world, something magical happens. The streets gain new colors, the lights turn on with a different glow, and the scent of pine, cinnamon, and hot chocolate spreads through the air. It is Christmas. But what if we told you that there are places where this magic feels even more alive? Cities and villages where Christmas is not just a date, it is an experience. In these corners of the world, time slows down, traditions come to life, and the Christmas spirit becomes almost tangible. These are destinations that seem to have leapt out of a postcard, with breathtaking scenery, enchanting markets, and celebrations that warm even the coldest hearts. Vienna, Austria. When winter gently settles over Central Europe and the first snowflakes touch Vienna's cobblestone streets, something magical begins to unfold. The city, with its rich tapestry of imperial history, classical music and Baroque architecture, transforms into a true Christmas fairy tale. It is December in Vienna, and Christmas here is not merely celebrated, it is lived. At every corner, the atmosphere thickens with the sweet aroma of roasted chestnuts, hot spiced wine, and homemade gingerbread cookies. Lights twinkle not only on lampposts and trees, but also in the eyes of those walking through the Christmas markets, wrapped in a feeling that blends nostalgia, anticipation, and enchantment. Vienna does not simply celebrate Christmas, it performs it with the precision of an opera and the care of a concert. Historic buildings dress in elegance, illuminated by thousands of tiny white lights that highlight the curves of centuries-old architecture. In the windows of traditional cafes, cakes like Sachertorte and Apfelstrudel invite passers-by to enjoy a warm and comforting pause. At Rathausplatz, in front of the majestic Vienna City Hall, rises one of the most famous Christmas markets in the world, the Wiener Christkindlmarkt. Here, wooden stalls decorated with pine branches offer everything from local crafts to blown glass ornaments, all wrapped in a soundtrack of choirs and bells that resonate like a gentle caress in the cold winter air. Children skate on the ice rink among illuminated trees. Families gather to share a Glühwein, warming their hands and hearts. Time seems to slow down. For a few weeks, Vienna forgets its imperial grandeur and surrenders to the simple miracle of Christmas, but the enchantment goes beyond what is visible. There is something almost spiritual emanating from the Baroque churches, where Christmas concerts echo through the halls of centuries-old cathedrals. It is in the sound of violins filling the Karlskirche, in the gentle melodies of children's choirs singing inside the Stephansdom, that one feels a deep reverence for tradition. In Vienna, music is an essential part of Christmas. Inside the golden halls of the State Opera and the concert rooms of the Musikverein, the works of Mozart, Beethoven, and Strauss gain new life under candlelight and the soft murmurs of the audience. Advent concerts become almost mystical experiences, where the sacred and the human meet. Streetcars decorated with garlands and bells travel through the city as if carrying passengers not only from one place to another, but between eras. Passing by places such as Schönbrunn Palace or the Berg Theatre, it is impossible not to feel as though you are inside a moving postcard. Vienna at Christmas is a city that inspires stillness. There is poetry in simple gestures, in an elderly woman offering cookies to a stranger, in a couple pausing in front of a shop window to admire a hand-carved nativity scene, in children, their eyes sparkling, placing letters to the Christkind in golden mailboxes scattered throughout the city. Rovaniemi, Lapland, Finland. On the Arctic Circle, there is a place where the magic of Christmas seems to have found its eternal home, Rovaniemi in Finnish Lapland. Here, where reindeer walk freely among the trees and the northern lights dance in the sky like brushstrokes of light across an infinite canvas, Christmas is lived with an intensity that defies reality. It is in Rovaniemi that you will find the official residence of Santa Claus, the greatest symbol of this universal celebration, a place where time seems to slow down and the Christmas spirit takes human form. Santa Claus Village, with its wooden buildings, sparkling lights and snow-covered trails, is a true tribute to fantasy. Here, the jolly old man welcomes visitors from all over the world with a smile warm enough to melt even the harshest winter. Children deliver their letters, adults become emotional, and everyone's eyes shine as if they could reflect the very spirit of Christmas. Between tight hugs and whispered wishes, Santa transcends imagination and becomes a living, almost tangible presence, as if he had always been there waiting for each of us. But Rovaniemi is more than Santa's home. It is also a refuge of Lappish traditions and a landscape where nature imposes itself with beauty and silence. The Sami culture, the indigenous people of Lapland, finds space in the fairs, in the songs, and in the bright colors of traditional clothing. Their stories echo through the snowy mountains and open fields, reminding us that Christmas, before becoming a commercial celebration, is a communion with time, land, and ancestry. Around the city, the boreal forests rise like natural cathedrals. Walking through them feels like stepping into an ancient tale, where each branch carries snow, as if it were a delicately wrapped gift. The local wildlife, foxes, hares, and reindeer, seems to understand the role it plays in this setting. They are characters in a spectacle repeated every year, yet one that never loses its charm. During the month of December, Rovaniemi transforms. The lights shine brighter, songs echo through the streets, and the cold, though intense, is softened by the warmth of togetherness. Christmas markets fill the squares, offering everything from local crafts to traditional gingerbread cookies, glögi, hot-spiced wine, and the sincere smiles of those who understand that Christmas is not just a date, but a state of mind. Families gather around outdoor bonfires, bundled in warm furs and sipping hot drinks. They share stories, sing ancient hymns, and gaze at the sky in anticipation of the northern lights. And when they appear, the aurora borealis, it is as if the universe itself has decided to take part in the celebration. Waves of green, pink, and blue sweep across the sky with grace and majesty, drawing sighs and tears from an audience that, even in silence, understands the magnitude of the moment. Tallinn, Estonia. In the far north of Europe, along the shores of the Baltic Sea, lies a city where medieval walls blend with the whiteness of snow, and every narrow alley tells a story that spans centuries. Tallinn, the capital of Estonia, is a place that seems designed for Christmas, a living fairy tale that blends tradition, faith, mystery, and magic. When Christmas approaches, Tallinn transforms. The town hall square, with its Gothic architecture and vibrant spirit, becomes the beating heart of the celebration. At its center rises a grand Christmas tree. A tradition dating back to the 15th century, when Tallinn is said to have been the first city in the world to display a public Christmas tree. Around it, wooden chalets carefully decorated with lights form the most charming Christmas market in the Baltic region. Amid the aromas of cinnamon, cloves and pine, visitors wander through stalls selling local crafts, hand-knitted wool clothing, wooden toys and traditional treats like pipa kugid, Estonian gingerbread cookies, and verivurst, a blood sausage served with sauerkraut and potatoes. Hot glögi warms both hands and hearts, and Christmas carols, some performed live by choirs, wrap everything in an atmosphere of enchantment. It is impossible not to be moved by the way Tallinn blends the sacred with the festive. In every centuries-old church, religious celebrations recall the true meaning of the season. The Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, with its onion-shaped domes and imposing facade, welcomes worshippers and visitors to ceremonies that mix respectful silence with chants that resonate like prayers cast into the winter sky. Meanwhile, in the streets, bells ring, horses pull sleighs through snowy alleys, and children in red hats chase snowflakes as if trying to capture the very essence of Christmas, and perhaps they do. Because Tallinn, in December, possesses the rare power to turn reality into fantasy. On the towers of the medieval wall, subtle lights glow, as though the city itself wishes to tell the heavens that it is celebrating. And from up there, the view is breathtaking. The old town, surrounded by modern buildings that remain respectfully distant, shines like a jewel in the night. It is a sight that slows the heart and fills the eyes with gratitude. Inside the homes, families prepare for Christmas Eve dinner. Windows decorated with handmade ornaments reveal scenes of unity and comfort. Estonians, known for their deep connection to nature and their long-standing traditions, maintain rituals passed down for generations. Lighting candles, baking homemade black bread, writing wishes for the new year, all a part of a Christmas lived with simplicity and emotion. And when Christmas night finally arrives, Tallinn grows silent. Not from absence, but from reverence. The streets become calmer, covered by fresh snow that seems to fall with purpose. Bells ring in the distance. In the churches, Mass is celebrated by candlelight. And for a few moments, time seems to stop. Wawel Royal Castle, Croatia. The Wawel Royal Castle, perched on a hill overlooking the Vistula River in the historic city of Kraków, and not in Croatia, as many mistakenly believe, is one of Poland's most radiant treasures. When the month of December approaches, it transforms into a setting worthy of the most beautiful stories ever told. When the first snowflakes begin to blanket the rooftops of its Gothic and Renaissance towers, and the cold seeps into the age-old walls, something shifts in the castle's atmosphere. It is as if time slows its pace, as if the very spirit of winter pauses to admire the splendor of the Christmas season. Every stone in the castle walls, every tapestry hanging in its grand halls, seems to whisper stories of Christmases long past. Emperors, knights and nobles who once walked those corridors now linger as echoes in a collective memory, where Christmas was celebrated with ceremony, prayer and hope. The crackling fireplaces, wrapped in mantles of flame, offer a warmth that is more than physical, a warmth of the soul. In the weeks leading up to Christmas, Wawel Castle is illuminated with delicate amber lights that trace the outlines of its arched windows and towering spires. The soft glow dances upon the snow, creating golden reflections on the ice and on the glass cases of exhibits that take on an even more solemn aura. But what truly enchants is not just the decoration, it is the collective sentiment that emanates from every visitor and every resident of Kraków. Families walk together up the ancient staircases, children wide-eyed before the giant Christmas trees adorning the main hall. Christmas songs performed by local choirs echo through the stone corridors, filling the air with melodies that transcend languages, beliefs, and time. The celebrations in the castle revive some of Poland's oldest traditions. One of them is Wigilia, the Christmas Eve supper, which takes on an even deeper symbolism here. Beneath the towering carved stone ceiling, tables are set with 12 symbolic dishes representing the 12 apostles. The clinking of silverware, the aroma of dishes like red barshch and pierogi stuffed with cabbage and mushrooms all awaken the senses. And it is impossible not to mention the opłatek, the thin wafer shared among those present, accompanied by wishes of happiness, health, and peace. In that moment, even those who arrive as strangers become part of something greater, a community of souls united by the same desire, that the light of Christmas may shine brighter than any shadow the year has left behind. From the top of Sigismund's Tower, the deep sound of the bell echoes on the eve of the great day. Its vibrations travel through the castle walls, the snow-covered trees, the rooftops of the nearby houses. And each toll seems to announce, it is Christmas. It is a time for renewal. The Christmas market spread at the foot of the castle is a spectacle of its own. Wooden stalls decorated with garlands sell local crafts, blown glass ornaments, wooden toys, and traditional sweets. The smell of hot spiced wine, the famous grzaniec, mixes with the aromas of caramelized nuts and Polish pancakes. There are laughs, there are hugs, there are songs, all of it under the silent watch of the castle, which seems to smile discreetly at the celebration of life unfolding at its feet. Inside the castle chapel, special masses are held, with Gregorian chants resonating through the colorful stained glass windows. Quebec City, Canada. When December drapes the northern hemisphere in its veil of cold and snow, there is a place where Christmas does not merely happen, it comes alive. Strolling through its stone streets, flanked by 17th and 18th century buildings, feels like walking inside a living painting. Christmas lights sparkle on snow-covered balconies. Decorated pines compete for attention with the colorful facades, and the scent of hot chocolate and spiced cider floats through the air like an invitation to warmth. In Old Quebec, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, time seems to have surrendered to eternity. During the month of December, this part of the city transforms into a Christmas village worthy of the most beautiful illustrations in children's books. The Quartier Petit Champlain, considered one of the oldest commercial streets in North America, becomes the beating heart of this enchantment. Its artisan shops, cozy restaurants warmed by crackling fireplaces, and children's choirs singing Christmas songs in French create an atmosphere suspended between the real and the imaginary. It's easy to believe that at any moment, a reindeer might cross the street pulling a sleigh full of presents. As snow falls gently, as if following an ancient choreography, locals decorate their homes with lanterns, red bows, handmade wreaths, and candles in every window. Tradition here is respected as a sacred inheritance, and it isn't just seen, it is felt. The Christmas markets, or Marché de Noël, are a spectacle of their own. Inspired by European traditions, especially those of Germany and the French region of Alsace, they offer a full sensory experience. Wooden stalls decorated with pine branches and warm lights offer everything from hot spiced wine and artisanal cheeses to wooden toys, ice sculptures, and traditional sweets like sucre à la crème and pain d'épices. And when night falls over the Château Frontenac, The iconic hotel that dominates the city skyline like a castle from a medieval tale, it transforms into a true shimmering jewel. Its snow-covered towers reflect the city lights, and the night sky takes on a deep, almost magical blue. It is in this setting that light shows and projections take place, along with Christmas concerts and street performances, celebrating unity, hope, and the joy of the season. All of it unfolds to the sound of bells ringing from the city's churches, blending with the soft crunch of snow underfoot. But Christmas in Quebec is not only grand, it is, above all, intimate. In small neighborhood bakeries, elderly men and women exchange traditional cookie recipes, decorate the community tree together, and share childhood stories. In every gesture, there is a sense of community that warms more deeply than any fireplace. Edinburgh, Scotland. When December rises on the horizon, Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland, slowly transforms into a scene that seems lifted straight from the pages of a winter fairy tale. The city, already famous for its Gothic architecture, cobblestone streets and its imposing castle that watches everything from atop a hill, takes on new shapes under the soft glow of Christmas decorations. It is as if history and fantasy walk hand in hand, creating an atmosphere that borders on magical. Mornings are cold and sharp winds sweep down from the highlands with force, but not even the intense chill can diminish the Christmas spirit pulsing through every street, every corner, every look. Residents bundle up in layers of wool, colorful scarves and hats that make them look like characters from a Victorian illustration. Edinburgh at Christmas is an invitation to enchantment, a sensory experience where the aromas of hot mulled wine, buttery cookies, and roasted chestnuts linger in the air like promises of comfort. The beating heart of the celebrations lies in Princes Street Gardens, transformed into a festive amusement park blending local traditions with European influences. There, a brightly lit Ferris wheel rises against the grey sky, offering breathtaking views of the decorated city. Lights winding along the trees create golden tunnels, and children laugh as they slide across ice rinks, glittering under garlands of lights. The Christmas markets are a spectacle of their own. Stalls decorated with pine and artificial snow sell everything from handmade Scottish crafts to local specialties like miniature haggis, freshly baked shortbread, and steaming cups of mulled wine. It is a place where languages mix, cultures meet, and the spirit of brotherhood becomes almost tangible. Walking along the Royal Mile during this season is a journey between past and present. The ancient stones beneath your feet hold echoes of centuries, while the decorated shop windows reflect the glow of garlands and stars. Street musicians play Christmas songs on bagpipes, blending Celtic tradition with festive spirit in a duet that sends chills even through the most skeptical hearts. And when night falls earlier, as is typical of the Scottish winter, the city does not grow dark. On the contrary, it lights up. Light projections dance across the facades of historic buildings, and every alley seems to hide a new secret, a new glow, a new story waiting to be told under the gentle snowfall that begins to descend. Edinburgh Castle, always imposing, takes on an even more central role. Wrapped in an aura of legend and mystery, it becomes the focal point of countless celebrations. Light shows synchronized with classical music echo across its walls, turning stone and history into a full sensory spectacle. From above, it gazes upon a city alive and joyful, where the past is honored and the present is celebrated with gratitude. On George Street, the parade of lights transforms the avenue into an open-air gallery. Interactive art installations invite passers-by to join the festivities, creating memories with every step. It is impossible not to feel part of something greater, a tradition that spans generations, a collective sentiment that only Christmas in Edinburgh seems able to evoke with such intensity. Lucerne, Switzerland. When the chill of the European winter arrives with its gentle winds and the first veil of snow settles over the Alps, Lucerne awakens to one of the most magical times of the year. Nestled in the heart of Switzerland, surrounded by towering mountains and resting on the edge of a serene lake, the city seems tailor-made for Christmas. As December progresses, Lucerne transforms into a scene worthy of a Christmas tale. Medieval facades gain new colors with garlands, stars, and hanging bells. Warm golden lights outline the steep rooftops, creating an aura of comfort even on the coldest nights. The soft snow piling up on the sidewalks becomes the final touch, a reminder that no matter how technological the world becomes, there is eternal beauty in simple things. The Christmas market at Franziskanerplatz, in the heart of the Old Town, is a meeting point for generations, cultures, and dreams. There, among the wooden stalls decorated with pine branches and twinkling lights, time seems to stop. The scent of caramelized almonds, gingerbread, and hot spiced wine fills the air and guides the steps of those who seek not only gifts, but memories. Local artisans showcase their talent in every detail. Hand-carved candles, wooden toys, delicately painted ornaments, all crafted with the patience of those who understand the true meaning of Christmas. Christmas melodies do not come only from speakers. Choirs perform live in the squares, filling the air with harmonies that echo between centuries-old buildings. Children pause to listen, their eyes wide with wonder, while adults smile, perhaps remembering their own Christmases from long ago. In Lucerne, music is more than sound. It is a bridge between present and past, between faith and fantasy. Along the shores of Lake Lucerne, the waters reflect the city's lights as though the sky itself had decided to descend and touch the earth. Illuminated boat rides offer a unique perspective on the Swiss Christmas. Snowflakes fall upon the passengers, while the horizon unfolds in shades of blue, white, and gold. Inside the boats, the warmth of laughter and steaming mugs turns the cold into something comforting. The Kapellbrücke, the oldest covered wooden bridge in Europe, becomes even more impressive under Christmas illumination. Its medieval paintings seem to come to life, and every step across its ancient boards feels like walking through centuries of history touched by the spirit of Christmas. At night, when everything grows silent, the sound of the water running beneath the bridge blends with the bells of the churches, creating a soundtrack that only Lucerne can offer. The Christmas spirit also reveals itself in the subtler details. Local bakeries with their warm window displays showcase seasonal delights such as Christstollen and Bredele, small cookies shaped like stars and hearts, dusted with sugar and childhood memories. Cafes become havens where strangers share tables, stories, and human warmth. And in the homes, soft lights twinkle behind white curtains, hinting that inside, Christmas is also celebrated in silence and love. Prague, Czech Republic. It is December, and Christmas arrives not merely as a date but as a presence, a spirit that permeates every cobblestone street, every Gothic tower, every square illuminated by thousands of twinkling lights. Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic, has an almost magical relationship with Christmas. It is a city that carries in its stones the weight of centuries of history. Yet when December comes, it smiles with the innocence of a child waiting for presents. The cold cuts through the air, but there is something warm in the glow of the Christmas markets, in the sweet smell of caramelized almonds, and in the soft melodies of choirs singing traditional songs under the winter sky. Old Town Square, the beating heart of Prague, becomes the epicenter of this enchantment. There, a gigantic Christmas tree rises majestically, decorated with golden stars and red ribbons that dance in the wind. Around it, wooden stalls sell local crafts, handmade toys, and an endless selection of traditional treats, including trudelnik, a sweet pastry roasted on rotating spits and coated in sugar and cinnamon. The voices of merchants mingle with the Christmas music played live by small bands. Children gaze in wonder at the ornaments, while adults, holding a mug of svazhak, hot wine spiced with cinnamon and cloves, lose themselves in conversations, memories, and silent wishes for the upcoming year. Time seems to slow in Prague during Christmas. The narrow streets of Malá Strana, with their lit lanterns and Baroque facades, invite quiet walks. The distant sound of the bells of St. Vitus Cathedral echoes like a call to contemplation. And as snowflakes spiral gently downward, there is something deeply poetic in the way the city allows itself to be embraced by this spirit. On Charles Bridge, perhaps the city's most iconic landmark, street performers brave the cold with violins, harps, and flutes. Couples walk hand in hand, exchanging smiles and promises. The Vltava River flows calmly, reflecting the golden glow of the lampposts as if wanting to join the celebration. Christmas in Prague is not only visual, it is sensorial. It is the smell of fresh bread from centuries-old bakeries. It is the taste of dark beer served in ceramic mugs in underground pubs. It is the feel of hand-knitted wool gloves sold in small shops hidden between alleyways. It is the sound of church organs playing music that has carried the same human hopes for hundreds of years. Inside St. Nicholas Church, Christmas concerts bring together locals and travelers in a communion of emotion. Beneath the vaulted ceiling painted with celestial scenes, the notes echo with an almost supernatural clarity. Eyes fill with tears, not of sadness, but of a strange feeling of belonging, of being part of something larger, something eternal. There is a quiet spirituality in Prague's Christmas season. It does not matter what a visitor believes. Everyone is touched by an atmosphere that transcends the commercial and rescues the essential. Traditions passed down through generations keep the soul of the Czech people alive. Families gather to prepare Christmas Eve dinner, where fried carp is the main dish, and before the meal, a fish scale is placed inside the wallet, a symbolic gesture meant to attract prosperity. Local television broadcasts Christmas tales and old films that are part of the nation's collective memory. And as the clock nears midnight, church bells announce the arrival of the sacred moment. Many walk to midnight mass, wrapped in silence and reverence. New York City. New York does not simply celebrate Christmas, it reinvents itself, transforming into a living stage of wonders and traditions that span generations. The Christmas journey officially begins at Rockefeller Center. There, a colossal tree, carefully selected and transported from some remote corner of the United States, is raised before the mesmerized eyes of New Yorkers and visitors. Decorated with more than 50,000 LED lights and crowned by a star made of Swarovski crystals, it stands as the ultimate symbol of Christmas in the metropolis. Around it, the skating rink glides to the sound of laughter, gentle tumbles on the ice, and the classic soundtrack that echoes through the loudspeakers. Couples, families, friends, everyone shares the same frozen stage, creating memories wrapped in scarves and wool hats. Fifth Avenue, in turn, transforms into an open-air art gallery. Every window display seems to compete in creativity and brilliance, as if the great names of fashion and retail had joined in a silent pact to astonish those passing by. Animated figures, miniature landscapes, enchanted forests and flying sleighs create narratives that capture the eye and transport the imagination into an urban fairy tale. It is there, walking between window displays, that many remember what Christmas truly means. Not gifts, but presents. Time slows down, even in a city that never sleeps. People embrace more, smiles come easier, steps take on a different rhythm, guided by songs that feel as though they come from a time forgotten yet never lost. In Central Park, nature aligns with the festive spirit. The trees, now stripped of leaves, take on a melancholy, almost poetic beauty. The lake reflects the city lights, and around it couples glide hand in hand as snow begins to fall gently, as if choreographed by an invisible director. Horse-drawn carriages circle the park, draped in red blankets and garlands. Bells jingle in sync with the horses' hooves, creating a nostalgic soundtrack that evokes Christmases of long ago, even for those who never lived them. There is a feeling of rediscovery, of the past, of dreams, and of the simple enchantment of being alive. From Harlem to Brooklyn, each neighborhood finds its own way to celebrate. Gospel concerts echo in century-old churches. Christmas fairs take over the squares with aromas of cinnamon, hot chocolate and caramel apples. In Williamsburg, independent artists create handmade ornaments, while groups of friends gather at holiday markets to toast with hot wine and share stories. The spirit of Christmas is not limited to aesthetics. It pulses through everyday gestures. In the anonymous donor who leaves a generous tip, in the volunteer serving warm meals to the homeless, in the child who gives away their favorite toy to someone who needs it more. During this season, New York remembers the value of generosity and the transformative power of affection. And when snow settles on brownstone rooftops and windows glow with twinkling lights, a new landscape emerges. A New York that, for a few weeks, feels as if it came straight out of a dream. Yellow cabs cross sparkling avenues. The Empire State Building shines in red and green, and every street, lit like a stage, invites everyone to become part of the spectacle. Even those who walk alone feel accompanied. There is something profoundly collective about Christmas in New York. Perhaps it is the way the entire city sinks into a rare harmony, as if for one brief moment, everyone shared the same wish: to celebrate, to give thanks, to love. Gramado, Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil. Christmas in Gramado, in the heart of Brazil's Serra Gaúcha, is not merely a holiday. It is an experience that transcends the calendar, an enchanted immersion into a world of lights, colors, and emotion. Gramado hosts Natal Luz, one of the largest Christmas events in the world. For more than 2 months, the entire city devotes itself to the celebration. There are parades, musical performances, concerts, open-air theater productions, and fireworks shows, all designed to touch the hearts of those who pass through. Created in 1986, the event has grown with each edition, establishing itself as an international reference in Christmas magic and celebration. When night falls, The Rua Coberta in downtown Gramado glows with 1,000 golden and silver tones. The aroma of hot chocolate, cinnamon, and roasted pine nuts blends with the sound of softly echoing Christmas songs. It is an invitation to warmth, reflection, and togetherness. Entire families gather to watch Santa Claus descend from the sky while artificial snow falls gently, like a dream coming true. The city's Germanic architecture serves as the perfect backdrop for this spectacle. Houses with steep roofs, flowered balconies, and hanging lights create a fairy tale atmosphere. Every facade becomes a living postcard, every storefront a magical window into a universe where anything is possible. Black Lake, one of Gramado's most iconic postcards, transforms as well. Its calm waters reflect lights and ornaments, while swan boats and pedal boats are adorned with Christmas decorations. Couples and families stroll along the water's edge, while Christmas songs in various languages float through the air like blessings. It is impossible to speak of Christmas in Gramado without mentioning the feeling it evokes. It is not merely an aesthetic celebration, but a deep emotional experience. It is as if the city invited everyone to reconnect with the essence of Christmas: love, solidarity, hope. And that is exactly what the shows aim to convey. In one of the most famous, The Great Christmas Parade, magical characters march through the streets on richly decorated floats. Angels, elves, toy soldiers, and of course Santa Claus himself interact with the crowd, who cheer, laugh, and often allow themselves to be swept away by tears. Children especially live this moment with rare intensity. For them, Christmas in Gramado is confirmation that magic exists. Their eyes sparkle with each new light turned on, with every musical note, with every hug they receive from an enchanted character. But adults too are not immune. In Gramado, even the most skeptical allow themselves to believe, if only for one night. The city understands that Christmas is also a time for reflection. And so, during the festivities, there is space for spirituality and for celebrating the birth of Christ. Churches welcome both residents and tourists for special Christmas masses, and performances depict the live nativity scene, restoring the true meaning of the season. Zurich, Switzerland. Christmas in Zurich, the largest city in Switzerland, is a spectacle of centuries-old traditions and alpine elegance, where time seems to slow so every detail of the season can be fully appreciated. Walking through the cobblestone streets of the historic center feels like stepping into a European fairy tale. Medieval facades are adorned with wreaths, candles, and handmade ornaments. Every storefront, carefully lit, tells a small Christmas story. For a few weeks, Zurich becomes a silent stage where magic performs effortlessly. At the heart of the city, the traditional Christkindlmarkt, the Christmas market inside the central station, surprises even the most seasoned travelers. Set within one of the largest railway stations in Europe, it hosts dozens of wooden chalets decorated with Swiss precision. There, visitors find everything from refined handicrafts to local delicacies such as raclette, bratwurst, and hot-spiced wine. At the center of the market stands one of its most iconic features: the enormous Christmas tree decorated with thousands of Swarovski crystals. It shines intensely, reflecting off the station's glass windows and in the amazed eyes of everyone who passes by. It is impossible not to stop, admire, and feel small before such beauty. Swiss traditions gain new life during this season. Samichlaus, as Santa Claus is known in the German-speaking region, makes appearances throughout the city. handing out nuts, tangerines, and sweets to children. Many of them, dressed in winter clothes of red and green, wander through the markets holding mugs of hot chocolate, their eyes alert for the next surprise. Another highlight of Christmas in Zurich is Lucy, the light show that transforms Bahnhofstrasse, one of the most luxurious shopping avenues in Europe, into a corridor of stars. Thousands of tiny LED lamps float above the heads of passers-by, creating a celestial canopy that accompanies visitors all the way to the lake. But Zurich is not made only of shopping and glittering windows. During Christmas, the city reveals its more introspective side. In historic churches such as Grossmünster and Fraumünster, classical music concerts echo beneath the Gothic vaults, creating moments of deep contemplation. The sound of choirs, the harmony of instruments, and the sacred acoustics of the space create an atmosphere that borders on transcendental. The banks of the Limmat River also come alive. Street performers play harps, violins, and traditional folk instruments in small squares. The cold is softened not only by outdoor heaters and blankets offered at cafes, but also by the warmth of human connection found in every exchanged smile. When snow falls, it becomes the final brushstroke in a scene that appears hand-painted. Snow-covered rooftops, trees adorned with lights shimmering under frosty branches, and the soft sound of church bells marking the hours. All come together to create an almost dreamlike Zurich. And even when the snow doesn't come, the crisp air and the warmth of shared moments form a perfect duality that captures the essence of the European winter. Christmas gastronomy is a chapter of its own. Bakeries offer traditional cookies such as Mailenderli and Zimtstern, dusted with sugar and cinnamon. Markets serve steaming Glühwein, poured into collectible mugs that every visitor takes home as a souvenir. Cheeses, artisanal chocolates, roasted chestnuts, and gingerbread complete the sensory experience. There is something profoundly human about Christmas in Zurich. Perhaps it is the blend of Swiss precision and the warm spirit of its people. Or perhaps it is the city itself, with its ancient history, inviting us to slow down, to observe, to remember what truly matters: presence, affection, hope. Gdansk, Poland. In Gdansk, on the coast of the Baltic Sea, winter arrives like an ancestral breath, tinting medieval rooftops with a serene white. It is December. The cold seeps through the cobblestone alleys, but the city pulses with a different kind of energy. An old energy that resurfaces every year, like an echo of deeply rooted traditions. It is Christmas in Gdansk. In the heart of the city, the long market, Ulica Długa, transforms into a corridor of golden lights. Lanterns hang from Gothic facades and rebirth their reflections in the bakery windows. The sound of children's choirs blends with the gentle ringing of bells as people walk hand in hand, carried by an atmosphere that borders on mystical. Here, Christmas is not just a date, it is a promise of continuity, a rite of passage embracing past and present. The Christmas markets in Gdansk are not merely fairs selling goods, they are living stages of collective memory. Wooden stalls decorated with pine branches and golden stars exude the aroma of roasted almonds, steaming pierogi, and hot-spiced wine. Every corner holds a detail that seems taken from an ancient tale: a handmade snowman, a wreath embroidered by local artisans, or a nativity scene carved from century-old wood. Children skate on the ice rink at Tagvanglowy Square, their laughter rising like mist in the icy air. Couples exchange knowing glances beneath illuminated arches. A Santa Claus with a long beard and burgundy robe hands out sweets while in the background, violins play folk melodies. There is something deeply moving in this blend of innocence and nostalgia, a feeling that time slows down and everything begins to make sense again, even if only for a few days. In Gdansk, Christmas is also written through history, through every stone in its Renaissance buildings, through every scar of wars that tried to silence the city, but it endured. And today it rises again each December like a quiet phoenix, adorned with ribbons, lights, and hope. The past is not erased, but embraced, and the celebrations take on a symbolic weight, as if each candle lit in the windows whispered, "We survived, we are here, and we still believe." In the churches, concerts echo between centuries-old columns. The organ of St. Mary's Basilica shakes the walls with hymns that seem to rise to the heavens like prayers. The faithful gather not only to worship, but to give thanks, for small blessings, for reunions, for the simple act of breathing. And even those who do not follow a specific faith feel touched by this aura of reverence and beauty. On the banks of the Motwawa River, the lights of the Christmas market reflect on the dark waters, creating a silent spectacle. The docked boats sway gently, as if they too were participating in the enchantment. There one can see couples exchanging vows, tourists capturing every detail in awe, and locals who return year after year to relive the magic. Because Christmas in Gdansk is exactly that, a return, a reconnection with something essential that we often forget in the rush of daily life.